My name's Guy Kestevan. I've been a professional biking kit tester for over 25 years, and this is just a quick run round on an update on my Forbidden Druid version 2 long-termer, which I've gone for a lightweight build on this. I don't know if you've seen the Everesting Cervelo video where my mate Ryan and Patreon subscriber Ryan did an epic Everesting effort around Stainburn Trail Centre in the aid of childhood bone cancer. But make sure you watch that video. But as part of that, I went up and rode some laps with him in the middle of the night. And basically, I just wanted a bike that could look after me on the super janky trail centre in the middle of the night, because there's obviously no point in me decking it if I was meant to be there to help him and get in his way. So I wanted a bike that would make it really easy, but I also wanted to shave some weight out of it to make the pedalling as easy as possible. So I went about my Druid with some test kit I had in to get working on anyway, and got it down to 14.2 kilos without pedals, as you see it here. So, I mean, you could definitely go quite a lot lighter. That includes the Pro Guard fender on the front there, and it's just got a DMR saddle on there, which is quite a chunky piece. It's just, what I've got on test at the moment. But I'll just go through some of the other details now, in case that's of interest to you. Most obvious thing, aesthetically at least, is Fox 34 on the front. I mean, it's a full-blown 34. It's not an SC. It hasn't got the cutouts at the bottom of the legs there, but still significantly lighter. I think about half a kilo lighter. I measured it against the 36 Performance Elite forks I took out of there. It's 140mm stroke rather than 150, so that steepens the head angle up a little bit as well. And so far I like them. I do like them, but I think they do feel undergunned on this bike. I mean, one criticism I definitely make is that Fox's recommended pressures are way out. I'm running about 20 psi more than they suggest. I'm still pushing quite a long way through on this stroke here, so I'm probably going to add some tokens into the fork. I mean, I've videoed it running downhill, and it actually looks to sit in the mid-travel most of the time, but it's definitely pushing through to the base more than I would like on bigger stuff and under heavy braking. So I'm probably going to add a few more tokens in there. And by the way, that is with a lot of high-speed compression on there as well, which just doesn't seem to... I mean, it's good when high-speed compression doesn't obviously spike when you wind it in, but on the other hand, it doesn't seem to do a huge amount. I mean, Fox have definitely got a lot more subtle and a lot more open in their stock tunes, which is generally a good thing, but with this high pivot back end on here, even though it's only, it's still less travel than the front fork, this bike is definitely working that Fox fork very hard. So that's something that I'm going to work on, maybe move it across the pace as well. The other thing I fitted to save weight and kept the Bergtech stem, but these are a set of specialized control bars. I mean, they're a nice, really light carbon bar, but neither Ryan, I've been riding this bike with Ryan as well since, neither of us have really got on with the shape of the bar. It's quite high swept, it's relatively narrow. So what I'm going to do, there's a new bar that I can tell you about next week, so I'm going to fit that in there, a bit lower, hopefully a bit better, just a nicer cockpit feel. It just doesn't feel quite right at the front, doesn't this Druid at the moment? It normally feels absolutely spot on. So I'm going to check it's not just the bar, and then maybe work on the fork some more. The other potential thing, or it could be, is the new Roval Traverse SL wheel in front. I mean, it's still a very, very distinctive wheel. Like I say, it almost looks like one of those rod pull brake wheels that you get on old ancient sort of town bikes. But you've got that really pronounced lip on it and that real ridge on the outside. It actually looks like the tyre hasn't fitted onto the rim properly. But apart from that, they seem plenty tough so far. They certainly had a beating. And for the sake of speed, when it was drier, I've been running them with this Schwalbe Wicked Will tyre, but I've also been running them with a Maxxis Forecaster as well, which is my current kind of go-to all-round test tyre. It's not particularly light. I wish it was lighter, to be honest. It's over 900 grams, but in terms of grip and rolling speed, it's, you know, I've not got much to complain about. It's a really good all-rounder, and it works well for this kind of fork category. And I've got a few of them as well, so I can run, you know, different wheels on different bikes, which is always handy, but always have that tyre as the context. Apart from that, nothing much has changed. I didn't bother changing anything with the shock. You can see that crank's taken a fair old beating. It's relatively low BB in the mullet setup, so has taken a beating on the back. I'm running Shimano pedals at the moment, so Ryan and I can hop backwards and forwards because he always runs Shimano shoes and Shimano pedals. So it's just for things like fork testing and bike testing. I try and keep, you know, it's easier if we hop between them on the same pedals. So what else do you need to know? That did seize up. The lower jockey wheel did seize up for a bit, and I've had a couple of glitches with the rear mech not triggering at the start of a ride, and each time I've managed to solve it by either sliding the battery in or basically giving it a sharp slap, and it's come back to life. So hopefully it'll work again tonight, and yeah, I mean, it's working now, but that's something I'm keeping an eye on long term. What else? Oh, I've found that this chain generally works better with a slightly heavier lube on it. So I've been using Petey's Wet Weather Lube, which is sort of more oil-based rather than wax-based. And that does seem to keep the chain a little bit quieter and a little bit smoother long term. And the bit of friction there used to be, you can see there's that plastic protector plate on that. Started off when you're in really, really low gears, so there's maximum chain across the top of the block, then there's definitely some rub on there. So I mean, there's still a little bit of grind at extreme chain angles when you're really climbing, but yeah, it's just something I'm kind of getting used to with the design, because I still, you know, it seems like a benefit when it's not rubbing. You know, it runs super smooth. I think Seb started put on Pink Bike, and I think he said there's about a 2% wattage loss efficiency, he reckons. He's done some very thorough testing, like Seb always does, but he reckons there's about 2% efficiency loss of that high pivot idler. But in terms of, you know, what it gives you in traction and, you know, the ability to just blast through stuff, I'll happily take that on this bike. What else? And on the back, this is the HD version of the Roval Traverse. So again, both really light wheels, front and rear, but this is slightly heavier and HD, heavy duty. It's designed to take even more knocks. But I had to go for HD on the rear, not just for the strength, but because they only do the HD in 27.5 inch and 29. The SL only comes in 29. So if you want a 27.5 back end, which obviously is how the Druid's running at the moment, I needed to go for the HD. So thanks to Georgie for sorting me out with those. And something very, very rare happened, because I wanted a fast-rolling rear tyre, and because I'm a massive fan of the hugely underrated Schwalbe Rock Razor, my mate John tipped me off that the 27.5 by 2.6 versions were actually on sale on Merlin Cycles for about 12 quid or something like that. So I've actually bought 3. As these are such a good tyre. I mean, they're very fast, really tough, not that heavy, even in super trail format. And they're just a huge amount of fun. I mean, there is grip if you get them right over. And they always shock people by how much you can actually climb on them, by how well they roll and just how well they grip, even in soft conditions. But most of all, they're just a huge amount of sideways fun when you're getting loose on twisty trails. It kind of turns the bike into like one of those sort of skid trikes that kids are lucky enough to have nowadays, like a big chopper front end and then the back end that's just sliding all over the place on sort of skateboard wheels. So, yeah, I mean, it rides absolutely great like this. Like I say, weight is down to 14.2 kilos. So it's, I think that's well over a kilo lighter than it was. And it's definitely something I'll maybe look to, you know, to keep on going with, is keeping this light. Like I say, I'm going to change the bars and see what I can sort out on the forks. I'm out on it tonight. So add some volume space to see if I can work on the progression there. But yeah, so far, still absolutely loving this bike, even in what is a relatively extreme sort of out of shape format for it, it still rides really, really well, or at least it will if I can sort that front end out. Oh, and the other thing that's been a lot more useful than I thought it might be, it's a bit awkward to use, but that belly pan sort of storage location, that little box in there, if you're clever, you can actually get quite a lot of kit in it. You know, I've managed to squeeze, you know, a proper inner tube in there and a little multi-tool. And, you know, it's just useful to have that in the bike rather than in your pocket. Although, you know, it is a little bit leaky and, like I say, obviously right under the belly there, it is going to be filthy for most of the time. But, you know, it's internal storage if you want it. So there you go. Lighter, faster Druid is certainly a thing. I'm not going to call it down country. It's still over 14 kilos. And it's still, you know, overwhelmingly a bike that really likes to get stuck into tough technical terrain. But with these tyres on, it's very, very quick rolling. You know, it's quite happy keeping up on an XC ride. And the pedalling efficiency on climbs, certainly technical climbs, is still absolutely outstanding as long as you're not right over and rubbing the chain slightly off the chain line. So I'm actually really, really pleased mostly how well this has gone. But I need to sort out that fork up front. So like I say, I'm going to try some more volume spaces in that and probably have a switcheroo with the bars. And I'll bring you more details on those bars on, I think it's the 30th of October. So for now, well, this is me giving you a catch up on the Druid. Hope that's been of use to you. Obviously, any questions down below, fire away. Oh, there's a Hope dropper lever on there as well now. I don't know if you noticed, I didn't call it out before. But obviously, we want to get some time on there before I call out the performance on that. But it certainly seems really well engineered, as you'd hope from Hope so far. And yeah, just any questions you've got about the build or about the bike, then please fire them at me. I'm more than happy to get chatty in the comments about it. But for now, massive thanks to Forbidden for loaning me the bike long term. Huge thanks to my channel sponsors, Giro Cycling UK, Petey's Products, Enduro Bearings, Talk Nutrition, Crud XL Fenders and Hebtroco. And as always, huge thanks to my Patreon supporters who get early exclusive edits and they get them all ad-free as well. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel and want to support it on a regular basis, then Patreon subscriptions start from as little as $3 a month for that ad-free content. But for now, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click for notifications, and give this a thumbs up like to encourage YouTube to share it more widely. But for now, I've been Guy Kesterman on GuyKes TV, talking you through my lightweight, fast-rolling refresh on my Forbidden Druid V2. Thanks very much for watching.